All right, what's up, guys? It is Monday, December 9th, 7 p.m. Central Time, coming straight off of one of the biggest weekends in college wrestling. The CKLV just wrapped up. A couple dual meets that we'll talk about, but most of this episode is probably going to be talked about the CKLV. So, if you want us to talk about anything else, hopefully we get to it. But we got Tyler back and Deon is back, which both these guys we haven't seen a little bit. We did fellers for a couple weeks there with the Cyhawk stuff, but now that that's thankfully all over with, we can move on. I'll start off with an opening statement about the Iowa State Cyclones and just kind of what's going on, I guess, with Iowa State. Obviously, it's kind of a running theme on this podcast.
True.
But yeah, I mean, it was kind of pretty. What would be the word? Like, is prophetic? Is that a word? Prophetic, prophetic.
Depends
Prophetic,
how you.
yeah.
Like, it was pretty like um. It just kind of this weekend just kind of resembled what's been happening this season for the Cyclones, and that is just kind of injury after injury after injury, and it feels like at this point, I joked around about it after the Cyhawk duel that it was going to turn into a punt season, and at this point, I feel like I kind of accidentally called my shot. Um, we can go weight by weight and talk about the wrestling at CKLV, but ultimately pretty disappointing if you're a Cyclone fan like myself. Not necessarily in the wrestling per se, although there's some stuff that we can get into where we can nitpick some of the performances of the guys who didn't get injured, but I mean, everybody's hurt on this team. So I'll start off there. Tyler, Deon, do you guys have anything you want to start off with to get off your chest, and then I guess we can go from there.
I'm gonna say, Tyler, if you got anything, I had a little thought that I wanted to share with Zach and the rest of the Iowa State fans.
Okay.
Go
I'm
for it.
not Zach Tyler. All right, so you know, I started this podcast, and I didn't really pay attention to the Iowa State, just
Recall.
fodder or whatever the case may be. And I think what happened was the Iowa State fans got a little too excited about the guys that were coming in, and maybe I don't believe you guys had fully realized the type of team that you guys had. Like, I think you took last year's um last year's momentum and tried to apply it to the same team. Oh, not the same team, but this team, which is a different team. You had other guys that I feel like were just a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more experienced, like David Carr. And I think now that the season has started, and maybe you guys didn't get the same, or you guys didn't have the same results, or the guys that you guys added to the team didn't have the same results. I think you guys are like, damn, like we suck, da 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 da. Especially after y'all went, had a pissing contest with Iowa. I think you're kind of coming back to reality, and I think that's a good thing. I think you guys have a good team. I think Bachman's going to be good. I think Carroll's going to be good. I just think you kind of what's the saying? Put your horses before the cart, or whatever the case may be. And I don't think you let the guys kind of develop into who they are going to be. At least for the newer guys. For the older guys or the returning guys, like you said, injuries, you can't help that. But I think for Riggins, Bachman, Carroll, a lot of the newer faces that you're seeing on the team, I don't think you. I thought you guys expected that they were going to have the same type of like results that that Parko had, that Teamer had, that Buchanan had, whereas they had those results at other places. Bachman hasn't had the same results, when he was at Utah Valley, nor has Carroll, or whatever the case may be. And so I think y'all just kind of got caught up in the hype of
Yeah,
everything.
I wouldn't. I don't think that you're wrong there. I think that this team. I think for me, it feels like we had tasted a little. We tasted some success last year, right? Getting fourth place, getting the team trophy, winning the
Mhm.
CKLV. We had a lot of really big moments. Start off the year they beat Wisconsin last year, like in a very very dominating fashion. Obviously, the Cyhawk duel last year was like as big of or as close as the gap has been in a long time. And so last year was just one of those fairy tale seasons that seemed a little like premature. And I feel like for this year going forward, the moves that were made in the offseason were very surprising moves. Like Christian Carroll coming to Iowa State was very surprising.
Mhm.
Um, and then Bachman was kind of like not really expected, but also was a plus. But like you said, Bachman wasn't exactly like he didn't have crazy results at Utah Valley. He had some good results, but he didn't have, these crazy results. So he maybe wasn't like draft pick number 1 coming out of the portal for Iowa State. And I think you hit it on the head talking about expectations, where I feel like the expectation is just higher now than it's ever been. So maybe this season isn't such doom and gloom as I portray it to be. But when you go from like having the seasons that we had before Dresser, or the early Dresser days when he was trying to turn the ship around, and then all of a sudden you taste success, now you want to win the
Mhm.
CKLV every year. For me, the more disappointing thing is seeing like Oklahoma State, who we finally felt like we caught up to and passed, has now
Mhm.
in one season did what we couldn't do in the offseason, which is land Dean Hamidi and land Cam Amin and land. Um, I mean, we weren't trying to get Wyatt Hendrickson, but you get what I'm saying. They went and got a lot of the top tier portal guys that we didn't get. Um, Even guys outside of Oklahoma State that we didn't get. We didn't get Terrell Barraclaw, which was somebody that we definitely were trying to get at one point. And it feels like the guys that we did bring over haven't really translated. They haven't really met the expectations that the Cyclones have had. Like with Riggins, for example, I still think
Mhm.
Riggins is going to be fine. I just kind of think there were some surprising losses for Riggins at the CKLV, but he beat the Cal Poly kid Adam Kemp in the
Yeah.
first round that he wasn't supposed to beat. And I was, I'm very much in Riggins' corner still. I said over and over again that he's just he's without a doubt had probably the toughest first half of the season out of any of the Cyclones so far in terms of the guys that he's wrestled. And he has not quite had that moment where it's like, oh, there he is. There's the guy that
Mhm.
people expected him to be coming out of high school, because people forget he was ranked nationally coming out of high school.
Yeah.
But just the injuries to me, and then there's just some excruciating losses that just, man, I'm not gonna lie. When we get to talking about like the rest of, I shut off the finals after Anthony Etchemendia got hurt. I said in the Discord that I hate this sport, not gonna pay attention to anything. I'm done. I legitimately now, I'll with a caveat there, I would have finished it, but I was at this like bachelor party and there was other stuff on TV, and so I could
Mhm.
only watch it on my phone. But after he got hurt, it was just like, why, like, what? Why are we even doing this? Like, why are we even wrestling this year?
I
I
got
mean,
you.
Swiderski gets hurt, Connor Uten gets hurt, um, and then I don't know what's going on with Etchemendia, but he's hurt, and then uh, Gaetan got hurt at the
Bastida.
CKLV. Bachman got hurt at the CKLV. I didn't know that he medical
Bastida.
forfeited. Younger Bastida is hurt. He's wrestled one match. Um,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, what are they supposed to do at this point? Like
Mhm.
we're supposed to have a log jam, and we do, but it's like it's kind of sorting itself
Yeah.
out just by guys getting hurt.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's been interesting to kind of see it all kind of play out. Because even you're talking about the transfers that Oklahoma State got. Deon Hamidi was really good wrestler. I don't think he placed below top four before last year. Hendrickson was a top four guy. So they're bringing in guys that I have All American in the past. Where I think like you said, the Iowa State guys, they were good, but they were coming in as like prior All Americans, and so now you had this standard and you had this expectation. And again, they're not bad guys. Like I don't doubt that Carroll's going to continue to get better and develop, and all these other guys aren't going to continue to develop and get better. But I think you have this NIL era where you guys expect these kids to come in and just automatically perform at the highest level. And then when they don't, it's just like throw the whole season away. And I don't think like that's kind of unfair. Like I get the excitement. as an Iowa State fan, you want to root for your team. You're seeing Oklahoma State, have their head coach and they're doing great, and Iowa is always, going to be Iowa. But it's hard to kind of be in your lane as a Cyclone fan. But I think you guys kind of just gotta weather the storm a little bit more. You had David Carr, and that was great, but it's time to, for Coach Dresser to put his coaching pants on and start developing the guys, and hopefully, later this year or maybe even next year, some of these new recruits will start to pan out. But yeah, y'all got into a dick swinging contest. Y'all was not going to win. I'm gonna just be honest with you, because y'all, like, you tried, like, you had the Cyclone stuff on, you had the yellow and red paint, and I get that, but hey man, it's not y'all time yet, and that's okay.
I feel
okay.
like
y'all put ISU back on the map.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can compete at the dick swinging contest. I mean, I feel like
you can, but right now y'all just ain't got the facilities. Like y'all just
this year.
That's just corner right now with injuries and everything like that. There's really just not much you can do right now.
And
exactly.
Let me say this too. You guys remember when I got a lot of crap for the Stanford dual reaction thing, where I said
it doesn't count.
Well, that's another thing I didn't say. I didn't say it didn't count, but what I did say was like,
it doesn't matter.
I didn't even really say, I mean, I said, like, I'm not going to be concerned about a duel in November, and that turned into November duels doesn't matter. But what I meant was, like, I'm not going to be concerned. It's not like it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't matter. If somebody could point out to me how it does matter, then I can, I would love to learn. But, but what I will say is, I would love to hear I wish Fellers was on this week, because I would love to hear an Iowa fan's expression then. If we're going to go off whoever wrestles in the duel, that's what it is. Iowa almost got beat by Army.
Oh my God.
That's a fact. If Iowa State's going to be held to the...
Can we get to this?
If Iowa State's going to be held...
Y'all put y'all stuff there.
If Iowa State's going to be held to the standard that we have to beat Stanford with our C team, then Iowa needs to be held to that same standard, and they almost lost to Army.
The clear difference, though, is that they still won, I think.
They did still win, but they had way more A-teamers in than we had A-teamers in when we faced Stanford. I don't know if they would have beat Army if they had the same amount. If they only had four starters against Army, they would have not won that.
You're ahead. It's okay.
I'm just saying they almost lost.
It was while you're ahead.
Gabe Arnold almost lost. He was down 5-0. Like that duel was like, if I'm an Iowa fan, I'm more concerned about Iowa than I am Iowa State right now. I'll just say that.
Do you know what fellas would say?
What?
Fellas would tell you to worry about Iowa State because they're good.
I am concerned.
They have the number one guy at 197. They have, Parco said he's the number one guy at 149. Like,
which is comedy.
They're good.
Is comedy.
That was hilarious. But like they're good. So I think you should worry about your team and creating expectations, the right expectations for your guys, and what you guys have, and recognizing that Chittum is not going to save you. Like, stop trying to take him out of red shirt. Like, it doesn't even have to be like a punt season. Just develop the guys. Just get better. That's all it is. It's just get better. You had a tough first half. Let's regroup. Let's figure out who we have, and let's just continue to get better.
I think you're just feeling yourself because of this Maryland. Maryland had they had a big win.
I mean, Jackson Smith put it on Chris Foca at the Patriot Open. I don't even know what the hell the Patriot Open is. I think it's at George Mason. But yeah, he had a nice little win. But no, it's not about me. I'm just trying to help you Iowa State fans from getting just clowned by all the other Iowa fans, because y'all tried to punch up to Big Brother, and y'all got humbled. You ate some humble pie, and then you was like, "Oh, just wait till CKLV. We gonna be this. We gonna be that." And it was not a great CKLV.
Well, we did,
and that's okay.
We did get fifth with like a hodgepodge lineup where like half our team had to like forfeit out. We still got top 5, which is like it's pretty good. All right, let's get in.
Anyway,
Let's
I'm gonna say CKLV.
let's get beyond Iowa State. I'm sure we'll still talk about them throughout this because
For sure.
that's what I'm paying attention to the most. But 125, Eddie Ventresca seems like he's back, but also Matt Ramos is backer. Matt Ramos has kind of been one of those guys who's always kind of had high highs. Like he beat Spencer Lee. I got to remind you guys of that. And then he goes on and he loses to, random guys that he's lost to throughout his career. But now it seems like he is like locked in. He's been pretty consistent this year. I don't think he's lost yet this year, off the top of my head.
I think 12-0, 11-0, something like that.
Did that surprise you guys at all?
Um, it was tough because it's been a weird year in that you kind of don't like you're trying to figure out who these guys are, and like you said, Ramos has been I think out of all the guys that are in the 125 weight class, I think he probably has the best resume. Um, Other than obviously old buddy winning the title, but like he's been good. Like he has had high highs, and so I think seeing that he has found some consistency, it has been a little surprising. And that just because none of these 125 pounders have had any type of consistency since Spencer Lee graduated, but it is nice to see for him. I think I heard on FRL, which I wasn't able to see a lot of these matches, but he wasn't really giving up a lot of takedowns. His leg defense was a lot better. So it's nice to see guys like that, be able to find that consistency while still being dominant as well.
He took out Spratley in the semifinals. I think everybody knows this by now, but I should probably just say it. Oklahoma State, every single one of their guys wrestled above their seed or to their seed, which is pretty impressive. Yeah. At 125, though, for Iowa State, Adrian Meza, he lost to Maximo Renteria and Brendan McCrone, which aren't bad losses. Those are decent, but I'm kind of hoping that he stays in red shirt now. I was saying pull the red shirt and kind of see where he's at with CKLV. He did get some pretty solid wins, though. I mean, he got some wins. I'm not going to pretend like they're world beaters, but he got some wins.
I must say, I was sad to not see Vince Robinson. He was a guy that kind of shown flashes earlier this year, but I think he medical forfeited by the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I haven't seen him wrestle this year yet, but obviously he's had a good start to his year, and he got pulled out. Do you know what happened? I mean, did you see what happened? Was it a knee thing? I heard he was limping or something.
I must say I saw some of the quarterfinals, but then I had a tournament Saturday, so I didn't really get to. And I saw the finals, so like most of the quarterfinals and the finals, so I didn't really get to see a lot of the in between.
Right on. 133.
Oh, slow down.
What do you got? What else you got at 125?
I must say I like to see Caleb Smith. He placed fourth, but I think he did a pretty good job making it to the semis. He had a really close match with Eddie Ventresca, so that was good to see him kind of continuing to get better and kind of showing himself to be, one of those guys at 125.
I actually thought he was going to lose earlier than that. I thought he was going to lose either to, well, I said Meza, but obviously Meza got beat by Renteria, but I would have picked Renteria to beat Meza because I would have picked Renteria to beat Smith. Smith lost his wrestle off at the beginning of the year, and I feel like Caleb Smith's one of those guys who, like, going back to what we're talking about, like transfers having different results at their current school. At App State, he didn't really have like crazy results, right? Like I think he was kind of like mid-tier.
Nah, I think he was one of those guys that like he had like one really good NCAA. Or like he was like, no, don't.
No, I mean like one like good ranked win or something. Like it wasn't.
No, I
like,
think he had a good NCAAs. I think he was like round of 12, or I feel like he might have All American. I don't want to lie, but I think he was like one of those guys that like was a really good recruit that that was at a mid major, and they was like, oh, you did good at NCAAs, thank you.
Come get this money.
exactly. So I think he was always decent, but I don't think he has you know gotten the results that they would have hoped last year at least.
But he did lose his wrestle off though, so I wasn't thinking he was gonna be having a great year, to
Nah.
be honest.
Okay. All right. 33. You're a
Uh,
little salty today.
He
no,
did
I'm
all
just saying he what?
he did All American last year.
No, he's a
Oh,
good
he did?
wrestler. He's a good wrestler, but sometimes when you see these guys at 125 when they're older, they start to lose.
That's fair.
Right.
That's fair. That wasn't the picture you were painting, but I okay.
Well, I said he lost in his wrestle off, so I was like, maybe he's gonna have a weight issues at the beginning of the year. It's still beginning of the year.
Hmm.
133. Can we move on to that?
I'm gonna say your boy Frost.
Yeah, I'm excited to
Your
talk about
boy
this week.
Frost. I'm gonna say heart
But
attack.
Ragusin though gets eighth. I didn't have that on my bingo card for CKLV.
I
Lost to Jacob Van D, and then on the backside he lost to everybody. It seems like. Who did he lose
which
to on the backside?
I wasn't wholly surprised about him losing to Van D because fun fact, he actually lost to him last year. And so when I
Mhm.
saw that result, I was like, okay, it could be one of those situations where, just one guy has your number, whatever the case may be. But for him to continue to just drop like that, I was like, oh, that was super weird. That would be a situation where like maybe it's an older guy and he just once he was done on the front side, he's like, I'm not, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
on the backside he goes on to lose to Buzakis 13-6, and in the seventh eighth place match, which could be one of those things like you're saying he didn't really care about. Maybe he loses the Cardinal from SDSU 12-5. So
Sad boy hours.
definitely sad boy hours. I don't blame him there. That week I'm going to use that later on at 197. But yeah, Evan Frost, he pinned Klebov in the final seconds. That guy was flat as a pancake. Never seen a guy flatter than that. It was a great call by the official. He needed a pin to win. He took him down, got a tilt, and then kind of let go of the tilt, got on top, and stuck him flat in the mat. Did you guys see that clip at all? Do you think he was pinned?
So I actually did laundry but like I literally like messaged you or messaged the group chat like Frost or in the Discord. I was like Frost with the eyes, like oh shit. And then I went to go do laundry. Next thing you know, everyone's in the Discord like oh my god. I was like, what the fuck happened? So yeah,
Yeah.
he pulled through in the last second. That was crazy.
Did you see the pin though? Did you see it, Tyler? Did you see it?
I
I did
did.
not see
I
the
don't know.
pen.
It was kind of tough from the one angle I saw from like a tripod, but for the sake of sports and entertainment, I think it was a pin. Looked good to me.
Everybody online, it's like a consensus that he was not pinned.
It made for a hell of a win, so I like it.
But it's
For sure.
crazy though because the match before that, he had a Wyoming kid. I'm gonna give him a shout out, O'Brien. Which O'Brien, I watched wrestle in the Campbell duel earlier in the year. He has like I can't remember if it was a headlock or some sort of feet to back move that he's got in his arsenal, and he actually put Frost on his back. So Frost two different times got put on his back and like held there for a while and didn't lose either one of them. He beat the O'Brien kid 16-10. Then he goes on to beat Klebov in a pin in the final second. And then he goes on to beat Tyler Knox, who Tyler Knox I actually picked to win that match just because up until that point, Frost hadn't really been wrestling that good throughout the tournament. But as the tournament went on, he ended up he ended up beating Knox, which I thought is probably his best win so far this year. But Frost is huge, man. He's big. I'm curious to see
So
how.
you
Go
think weight
ahead.
cut is kind of the reason for his kind of up and down performance? Because yeah, and I thought like looking at him last year, he was a lot more. I feel like solid. Maybe it's just progression, scoring more points. But I think he's getting more points scored on him. You think that's kind of weight cut related?
I don't know because I don't know. He's kind of hard. He's kind of a hard read. Sometimes like he wins sometimes when you don't think he's gonna win, and then moments like this with like Klebov and the O'Brien or whatever guy, like you wouldn't expect him to be in close matches like that. But I don't think it's weight cut related, but I do know that he's cutting a lot of weight, or at least that's what I've been told, is that he's cutting a lot of weight. But I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe stylistically, I don't know much about Klebov, but um, I do know that Frost should be beating those kinds of guys if he wants to have the same kind of season that he had last year. This Seth
Exactly.
Romney,
Like
this Seth Romney guy though, he's legit.
maybe. I just wanted to go back because I was looking at Frost's losses last year. You know, Kyrie, which he doesn't even look like the same guy this year. Um, Nazir Bailey, Dayton Fix, Ryan Crookham, Dylan Ragusan. So you know what I mean? Like those were the type of guys that he was losing to. Everyone else, like he was beaten handedly. And so you get into this year and he's struggling with guys from Wyoming. And I'm not going to say anything about Zeth Romney because I like the coach out there at Cal Poly, but it's just I don't know. He doesn't necessarily look like the same guy, so I just wonder maybe.
I don't know. I think he'll be all right, but you know,
Mhm,
it is going to be interesting down the stretch to see how his weight holds up. I'll just say that.
for sure. But yeah, Zeth Romney, the I don't want to say the dark horse, but a guy that maybe the casual wrestling fan didn't know. Kind of having his breakout tournament.
I don't
Going
even
through.
I honestly don't watch Cal Poly wrestle that much because
So
they
John Cerritos. The only reason I know John Cerritos is because I did a Granby camp with him back in like I don't even know 2012, 2013 maybe, and just I knew he was a head coach out in ODU, and he went to Cal Poly, and he's been I guess doing putting on some work there. I think Evan Wick was at Cal Poly. Who was the 184 pounder last year for Penn State?
Proud.
no
Bernie.
Bernie Truex.
Yeah, Bernie, I think was from Cal Poly as well. So he's had a couple guys, but it seems like he's developing Romney, and saying Romney is the guy that does all the right things, and seems like he is. Went through Buzakis, 6'5", took out Romney 5'2", and then ended up beating Frost in the finals 7-3. So
So
solid beat for him.
you know who Frost's two losses are: Drake Ayala and Zeth
No.
Romney for this year. They both got beat by Tyler Knox, who Evan Frost beat.
That is really weird.
So I think Evan Frost could beat this Romney guy, down the road, but
Mhm.
he didn't. He didn't this year.
That's what Knox at
You-
Stanford, Iowa State.
Um,
Was
who
it
did wrestle?
Frost?
No, it wasn't Frost. It was why am I blanking? Who wrestled
I
in
can't
that
remember.
duel? Don't tell me.
It's not. As long as it's not Frost.
I'm trying to remember. I can't. Hold on. Stanford. Here we go. Garrett Grice.
Oh yeah, it was Grice. I heard it
I
was
don't know who
supposed.
that
I
is.
heard that one was supposed to be
Oh yeah.
Redding, and apparently he didn't make weight. But I don't know if I believe that or not. But yeah, it was Garrett Grice.
Was that the duel that Dresser was like Frost came in like super big, and so he like
Made him make weight for punishment.
yeah, yeah.
I don't have a problem with
But
it.
yeah, you know who I want to talk about,
Who?
and I think he kind of came up on the in the Discord. Nick Buzakis.
He's so
'Cause
exciting to watch.
he is, but I just feel like, and he's not having a bad year, because you think about expectations, and I think their 157 pounders kind of in the same boat. Like they were guys that came out blue chip type recruits. I think Buzakis was like a 4-time national prep champ. Did really well last year, was beating guys, but I think for Ohio State fans, and I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I really like Ohio State. I just find that like there's a little bit of inconsistency with him, and I just feel like I don't know. Like part of me thought that it was going to be like him and Mendez was just going to be that 1-2 punch where they just kind of 133, 141 just kind of take over the world. And Mendez is holding up his end of the bargain, and Buzakis came back and placed third, beating Ragusan and took out. Actually, oh shit, he took out Knox 17-7 and beat Reese Whitcraft 13-10. But I don't know. Like I just and the he only his only loss was to Zeth Romney, but I
I
guess some
get
of his,
I see what you're
you
saying.
know,
He is a guy though that scores a lot of points, and I think he can beat almost anybody just because
for sure.
he's got feet to back capabilities, but the consistency is where like he definitely needs to work on being consistent because sometimes you see him lose the guys and you're like he shouldn't have lost to that guy,
Like what, huh? You know,
but he did lose to his teammate Ben DeVino, which is probably the future at Ohio State at 133 pounds, right?
probably. But yeah, I just, again, he had a great tournament. I don't want to take away what he did, but I don't know. I just thought he would be, in that kind of upper echelon
Yeah, it
coming
seems
into,
like he's almost like tier two, and he's probably more seems like a tier one kind of guy.
yeah, like I think he has like the tier one potential, but his like results will put him in like tier two island. But yeah,
41, Jesse Mendez wins. Not really shocking. Faced Tegan Jameson in the finals, which that's probably where we start talking about Oklahoma State and their ability to wrestle above their seed at this tournament. Brock Hardy was the 2 seed. He loses 7-4 to Tegan Jameson in the semis. Cale Happel finished 8th. Sergio Limley 7th. Sam Latona 6th. Jacob Frost 5th. That's another one that I can smile about. Joshua Coderhaint, who Frost had beat up until the final seconds, where he lost to Coderhaint, and then Hardy, Tegan Jameson, Jesse Mendez. I am surprised that Jesse Mendez didn't run up the scoreboard a little bit more on some of these guys. Obviously, Latona, Coderhaint, and Jameson are really good, but I feel like Jesse Mendez is on another level. And my pick to win 141. But unless Etchemindy goes down, then I'm going to have to reevaluate. But I was kind of surprised that he didn't score more points. He did score 19 points on Jacob Frost, but other than that, that's the only guy that he scored that many points on.
yeah, I think we all love to see Mendez. Which before I get to Mendez, Cale Happel took an L at the beginning of this tournament, and that was mad confusing because when I saw the name, I was like, Tag. Oh yeah, Julian and Gabe Tag, who came from what, North Carolina, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and those two guys wrestled each other in a duel like a week ago, and I think it was closer than you would have thought too. So I know that Julian Tagg's maybe not on the level of like what Cale Happel is ranked, but he is pretty good, and I
Mhm.
think he's probably gonna end the year ranked a lot higher than what he's currently ranked.
For sure, it's
Oh,
nice to see that. He. Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
no, you're good. I
Oh,
was just gonna say Apple's one of those guys who has the potential to be upset at any time too. Like he's showing those moments where he might lose to someone that he definitely shouldn't have. So I don't know if I saw it as like too crazy of an upset or anything like that. Really.
Well,
It,
Happel also got medical forfeited out at some point when he wrestled Jordan Titus and he won 11-10, and then he medical forfeits out. So maybe something's wrong with him. He did wrestle Grayson Clark
That
before that, but
mhm. But yeah, but back to Mendez. Yeah, that was, and I saw his Latona match, and I don't know, like it's weird. It's a weird one where if you looked at the matches, like if you just look at the scores, you would think like, oh yeah, those were like closer. Those are close numbers than you would think. But I think when you looked at the matches, I don't think there was a situation where you know he was in trouble. And I didn't look at that Coderhant match, which it was 8-6, so I think there was a takedown probably somewhere in there. And so, I may be lying, but I don't know. I just think it's one of those situations where you got this guy who's really, really good and his offense is really, really good. And so I think you kind of can't, play with him like that. Like if you're wrestling Kyle Dake, you're not just about to take any just random errant shots. You're going to be a little bit more calculated. And so now I think, Jesse Mendez is starting to move into this that rare space where guys are trying to. And I think Tegan Jameson probably almost did it the best, where you have a close first period, second period. You keep the match in the margins until third period, where you hopefully can sneak out a takedown. And I think as Jesse, continues to grow, hopefully he finds ways to score against those type of guys. But yeah, it seems like he's finally getting into that space where yeah, they're not going to shoot on you. So you are going to really have to, try your best to find some offense.
Was he your pick at 141 before the year started? Who did you guys have at 141 to win this year?
Oh yeah, Mendez for me.
Tyler?
Yeah, Mendez too.
Yeah. Unless Etchemania goes down, then we collectively agree that the pick's going to
No,
change.
it's not. No, it's just he's one of those guys like that will go and find that takedown. Where Bartlett, he's super athletic, super great. Nothing against him. I just think he's a little bit more defensive. And when you just have those two type of mindsets, for me, I just go for the guy that's going to be offensive.
Yeah, I saw in the Penn State Lehigh duel that Bartlett was the only one other than Braden Davis losing, but I think he was like maybe one of the only ones that didn't get bonus. Or no, Luke Lillidaw didn't either. But I mean, most of the guys got bonus is what I'm trying to say, and he did not. But that's just kind of the nature of the way Bo Bartlett wrestles most of the time. 149, Caleb Henson wins 6-3 over Ridge Lovett, who almost lost to Anthony Etchemendia. I don't know if you saw it, but Etchemendia, again, another match where he dominates the takedown battle. This guy can take down anybody in the country, but he loses it off of, you could say, like, bonehead decisions, I guess, in the Parko match, locked hands, cut back, but which I saw Tom Brantz protest the illegal cutback in the Army duel as well. So it's definitely something that has been like sought out, I guess, as far as like the rules go this year, is they're trying to maybe really stop that or something. I know that guys have done it in the past, and sometimes it's called and sometimes it's not. But anyways, Anthony Etchemendia, he goes and loses to Ridge Lovett after winning like 6-2, and he takes Ridge Lovett down. And I know he's getting a lot of flack for and I just said it was a bonehead move or whatever, but I don't know how much he really could have done it. He did take him. He like, I can't remember what he did, if it was a slide by again.
I think I remember.
I know he did a slide by in the first one, and then the second one, I think he just got to the leg and then finished high. And then the third one, I want to say it was another slide by situation, but it was such a bang bang thing where it was like, boom, he got him down to like a quad pod position to where they called the takedown, but you see Lovett immediately like kind of turn into him and grab him. Yeah, he kind of like turned into him and grabbed a leg, and then elevates it, and you hear Dresser and you hear Piles both saying like, well, Piles is saying on the call like Dresser's yelling cut him, and you hear Dresser say cut him, but I don't even know for sure if Etchemania knew that they had, like, it was literally like a bang bang situation where it was like he literally would have had to have him, hit the slide by, gets in a quad pod and cuts him as soon as he touches, but you don't ever hardly see that. Usually like, you get him in the quad pod, and then you're behind the hips and behind the arm, and then you kind of like hold on for a second just to make sure that the ref actually gave you the points. And I'm not really gonna say that Etchemendia should have like did a touch, a touch takedown, and then all of a sudden, because you do have to have reaction time. So it's like, I'm not going to say that was boneheaded move. I think it was more of a heads-up play for Ridge Lovett, who then put Etchemendia on his back, held him there, and then that was kind of all she wrote at that point. I don't think anybody would have probably got out from that, except for, Etchemendia maybe could have bridged and got out of there, but...
I think it was one of those kind of folk-style savvy positions, because even, like, I looked at the position earlier, and like you said, like, Lovett just, like, reached back, grabbed Etchemendia's leg. Etchemendia's trying to like sprawl, get put hip pressure, get the leg back. But then I don't know how Lovett is able to get the leg high in the air. Goes for the claw, and then just like you said, put him on his back. So I think like that's kind of folk style savviness. Like he just didn't I guess he just didn't have the time or didn't have the awareness to keep his hips back or just cut him like they said. But did they give him that takedown? That was it the second or third takedown that he got it? Because
He
I only
got
see
he
6
got
points.
he got 3 takedowns, and then it was
Are you sure they got the third takedown? Because the score says 9-6 and
oh man,
takedown
maybe
number.
he didn't get it.
So maybe he was trying to fight it.
So then maybe he shouldn't have cut him.
Yeah, like if he was trying to fight, get the takedown, get the hands down, and he Love it just has a heads up play, then you can't really like that's not a top bottom situation. I think that's just a folk style position type
Unless
of
I'm unless I'm just messing it up. When I rewatched it today, I didn't rewatch the
Mhm.
whole thing. I just wanted to go watch that sequence before we were going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember maybe the second takedown. But I thought they gave him that takedown, and maybe he only had one other takedown. But I want to say I thought he took him down 3 times, but maybe he just took him down twice. But either way, it's like, man,
It's just chain
you
wrestling, I guess. And speaking of chain wrestling, that's kind of how Lovett got stung. In the finals against Henson, Henson gets the escape, and literally as soon as he turns around from the escape, goes straight to that double leg. Henson wasn't paying attention, no, Lovett wasn't paying attention, and just got taken down. And I was kind of excited for this tournament because I feel like Caleb Henson came in as the returning national champ, and I just didn't think people were really giving him the credit that he deserved for being that returning national champ. They still had guys like Lovett and I cannot remember these dudes'
Van
names.
Ness.
Uh, there we go. Thank you, Van Ness from Penn State. They were giving those guys like the momentum or the idea, and I bet Van Ness will be in the finals with them, but I just feel like with Lovett, I don't know. I just think Henson, he did his thing last year, and I think he should have been rewarded for it. And now that he won a bracket like this, I think he should be the clear favorite, number one.
Yeah, I think you got to give it to him, right? But it's going
Mm-hmm.
to be interesting though, because Van Ness he's not going to concede.
I'm gonna say he ain't pussy, but I don't know. Like I just feel like it's one of those things. Like you just gotta respect it. You gotta respect it.
um, like I said, so after 149, I literally shut off the rest of it, and I went back and looked at results and stuff, obviously, but I was pretty upset because Etchemin ends up going for third or fourth, wrestling Jay Navis, a guy that he's recently beat. And he got taken down, put to his back. But it's like as soon as he got put to his back, he just kind of laid there, and you knew that it was going to be like
It's over.
it was over, and he limped away. Iowa
Sad boy
State
hour.
wrestles. Yeah, maybe like he lost last year in the CKLV, and then he lost to Happel, which he later beat Happel. So I think he was in sad boy hours. So I think he's fine. Like he could wrestle this week against North Dakota State.
Mhm.
But I literally shut it off. So you're gonna have to talk about finals for the rest
All
of the
right.
way because I I went back and watched some of the stuff. I can talk about 60, 57 and a couple other matches here. But yeah, I was pretty upset. So
I'm gonna say,
uh,
yeah, I don't think there's really anything else for 49. I think, I guess personally, it's nice to see Sammy Alvarez back wrestling. He had his little stint at Rutgers, pushed Roman Bravo Young to an overtime match. Back I think during his freshman sophomore year. So it's nice to see guys like that who kind of leave their original program, find another program, and have some success up 2 weight classes from 133. But yeah, 157. Antrell Taylor winning it in a very controversial match. I think it was another one of those situations of he didn't get any back points. It was just one swipe, which I'm totally kidding. Please don't be mad at me, the Schwabs. I kind of like you guys, and I like the UNI program. So,
what was crazy to Tyler? Did you see that sequence with Taylor and Downey at all?
No, I didn't get to catch it.
Oh well,
so
what was crazy to me was Taylor was definitely like on his back longer than Downey was, but Taylor's the one who got the back points. Obviously, though, he kind of sits up, and so when they're kind of sitting up like that, you can't do it. But the count
Mhm.
against Downey was so fast that it's unbelievable that he got two. That Taylor got. If you want to say no back points for Downey, then you. It's crazy to me that they could give back points for Taylor. I'm fine if you don't want to go any back points for Downey, and then no back points for
Mhm.
Taylor, and just give a reversal to Taylor, and that's it. But I personally thought that Downey had back points, and I did not think that he was. I don't know. I didn't think that Taylor got back points there, but obviously it's a judgment call,
Yeah.
right? You can't. I mean, you're not gonna have a
No.
stopwatch out there, so
So I don't think it was necessarily the time, and I think Christian Powell's he was on the call for the matches, and I think during the match he was kind of saying like it may not have been points, and I think the reason why the ref may have not called it is because I guess like, and I think I feel like I've been in this position where like I thought I had a guy on his back and I wasn't getting back points, but like you got to be like after a certain amount of height off the ground, I think you're out of that like
yeah, yeah.
danger. Like
It's
I
a,
think it's
it's
only
it,
like 6 inches or whatever the case may be. Not
right.
there were a couple
It's the
different
same.
angles, but
It's the same thing as when you see a guy get spladled and he's not getting any back points because the guy's back is
yeah,
too high up on the other guy's body,
Right.
basically.
yeah. So I think it was a
Not
situation where Antrell he did a great job, getting height, getting like he was up on his elbows at a certain point, and I think they were kind of it was a little weird. But I think if you are a UNI fan and if I was Doug Schwab, I would have been livid because yeah they called Antrell's points for against Downey like
Super
mad
fast.
quick
Which that was
like
the part that I was like,
I
whoa, that part seemed to be
yeah.
where the actual like conflict is for me.
Mhm. Yeah, like I think for Downey, I think it can be, subjective a little bit, but I think it's just because like that was subjective, but this was more clear cut. Hey, that was not two swipes, I don't think.
Right.
And so I think that's where
uh,
that's where the kind of frustration with everyone went.
looking at it here, to me, it's like right at the line of where it could have started being points for backs, but Antrell's movement itself and like his height he got from getting onto his elbows, I feel like stopped it
Exactly.
right flipped out to
Like
like
he
start
like
getting
he
it.
kept going in and out of like criteria. And so it was hard to
Hmm.
find like that consistent one count, two like consecutive 1, 2 counts.
He was,
Right.
yeah.
I don't think it was. Yeah, I think it was good.
But what about Taylor's back points?
See, I got to see that sequence. I haven't seen that one either.
It's like right after that
It's the
sequence.
same.
If
It's
you
the
were,
same
if you
exact
were,
sequence.
yeah.
And that's
So they
the part
somehow
that I
like
had
flip.
problems with. Um,
Yeah, it's super weird.
uh,
But
the rest of the weight though, nothing too
well,
crazy.
your boy Pinero,
Yeah, sad boy hours on the back.
what
Losing the.
happened on the
What?
front side though?
Yeah,
I
what
mean,
did
lost to
happen?
Patty Gallagher 2-1. It's not really the most surprising like loss last year. At 149, he lost to John Wiley, which is a guy that I would put him ahead of, and
Hmm.
Panero wrestles these. My thing with my diagnosis with Panero right now is he's always done this where he wrestles in really really close tight matches, and he's got really good. Like he's very fast, and he's really good at getting to the leg. And it seems like at 157, he's obviously gone up in weight, which I think if Echemendia wasn't at 49, he would probably back down to 49. He's been
Hmm.
wrestling 157 for like 2 years now, but it seems to me like he's a little bit afraid to pull the trigger just if he's like because he hasn't been able to like finish as well at 157, and I think that's because like
Hmm.
on these faster guys it's harder for him to finish on them because they're bigger than him and he can't finish as quickly if that makes sense, and so it's
No, that
almost like
does.
he's
Lost
afraid
his
to.
confidence.
Yeah, and he's like a very good like reactive wrestler, and it seems to me like he's kind of waiting for the other guy to pull the trigger, but when he wrestles other guys they kind of are doing the same thing for him because he's so fast. They're like kind of wrestling him on eggshells, I guess. And so I think he needs to either find his offense at 157 or figure out some sort of takedown that's going to work for him at a higher weight,
Yeah,
or he's going to have to go back down to 49. But
that makes sense.
I don't
That
think he
makes
has the
sense. I
option.
mean,
But
that can happen.
I just think when you
for
go up in weight, you're a little bit more hesitant to shoot in on somebody where they're gonna, come down on you, and it's gonna be really hard to finish underneath. And because I don't think his gas tank, his gas tank's been fine. He's wrestled in multiple, tiebreaker type matches, and like even before this Gallagher match, which he lost 2-1, he wrestled. I think it was a Stanford kid. Let's see.
he wrestled the Stanford kid after, so he
Oh
lost
yeah,
to
yeah.
Gallagher, and then he beat Chala or
He beat
he
he
beat
beat Hip
Chalakian.
he beat Hippolito in the round of
Oh,
16, 5-2,
and then
and then
Chalakian.
on the backside he wrestled Chalakian, and that guy is like kind of funky, and he's pretty good, I think. But
Super weird.
that was a 2-2. He won off riding time, and then he goes to wrestle Caleb Fish, and that's where I say the sad boy hours maybe starts, because he lost 11-0, and yeah, that wasn't ideal.
I'm gonna say shout out to Caleb Fish getting the win over his teammate or his old teammate Chase Saldate. That's a kind of funny little moment. Caleb Fish from Michigan State, Saldate from Michigan State as well, but transferred to Michigan, and
Yeah.
now Caleb Fish, who I think was he in their lineup? I thought he was redshirting.
He was not in their lineup, and then Teague Travis is hurt, I think, out for
Okay,
the
so
year.
that's
So
who. Okay, so yeah, shout out to Caleb Fish. It looks like I guess he got two forfeits. But he placed third, beats like you said Pinero, took out Saldate, took out Lance Lamer to wrestle back and place third. So I guess he was one of those guys that attributed to the Oklahoma State placing what 9 guys in the top 4 or something like that.
you hate to see it. 165, Peyton Hall is really good. Cam Amin is still Cam Amin. What I mean by that is he is boring to watch. These are his matches: quarters 4-1, semis 4-1, and then he loses in the finals 4-1. Um, even if he was supposed to, even if he went to Iowa State, I still would have been like, boo, like I would have been so upset. He beat Jack
I like
Thompson.
Amin,
He
man.
beat Jack Thompson 4-1. He wrestled Drake
He took
Rhodes
out
five to one.
Barraclaw.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought,
that
man,
was crazy.
Barraclaw. That was a weird. I didn't even watch that. I think that was one of those like early matches that I turned on.
First
I'm just
round,
like, wait,
10-5,
yeah, exactly. Like what happened? Like
and then he goes on to
yeah,
get
but
third.
here we go. So takedown. So Barraclaw got the takedown. Then he got the escape. Second period, it looks like Thompson got to take 2 takedowns in the second period, and then Thompson got a third takedown.
And then Thompson didn't even place.
That
I didn't realize
that's a
that.
weird. Yeah,
Another shocking result was Drake Rhodes beating Garvin for the 5th and 6th, which could be another sad boys result, but it is a result.
Good for
what the
Drake
hell
though.
happened to? Oh, he lost to Peyton Hall. Okay, that makes sense.
Garvin seems like somebody this year that's wrestled 100 matches. Like when you watch him, he looks like he's
He's
already
never
wrestled 100 times that day. Every time it could be a dual mean. It's like this guy's already wrestled 100 times already.
He gives. I mean, he gives it his all. Like, oh my god, holy shit. So his first match, round of 16, 20. He puts up 20 points, and then he puts up 17 against Gaitan.
Easy,
Then
yeah.
he still puts up 7 in a loss to Hall. So he's going out there trying to score points. So he's going to get tired. But
Shout out to
yeah,
Peyton
he
Hall though.
gotta. But then he goes 0-3 against Barraclaw.
So at 174, Dean Hamidi wins. Lorenzo Norman gets second. Garrett Thompson gets third. Cade DeVos, who was the champion, did not have a good tournament. He lost to Garrett Thompson, I believe, and he lost to Danny Wask, who is legit. I think Danny Wask has a good chance of being an All-American at the end of the year. And then he also lost in the 7th, 8th place match to Jared Sima. So definitely
Yeah.
not a good weekend for Cade DeVos, but I think he'll be all right. I don't know if he was injured or if it's a weight thing or what it was, but what it was not his best weekend. Dean Hamidi, though, won in the finals 3-4 over Lorenzo Norman. Norman's had a great start to the year. I'll just say that. Stanford, I feel like in general, has had a pretty solid start to the year. So, are you guys surprised by anything at this weight?
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know a lot about 174. I feel like I don't know. I just think 174 has just been always a boring weight class, historically. But that's neither here nor there. Looking Lenny Pinto. I think he only won like 2 matches. Got upsetted by Ruiz from Cornell, and then ends up losing to Jared Sima. So I think he was an 84 pounder last year, so I don't think the Nebraska weight cut has been going well for him. He is a third seed. But other than that, I mean, I think Dean Hamidi winning was a regular, like that was kind of apropos. But I just think Lorenzo Norman was kind of the revelation here. I think we saw him last year take down, and I'm going to forget his name, but the champ from Michigan, and now he is, this year he beat Brands at Iowa, and so I think he's starting to really show himself as a guy that can make a push for the podium.
184 seems like one of those topics that's a next topic just because Keck Eisen, um, he's the best guy other than Carter Starachi at this weight. That I feel like it's like those two guys, and then obviously I would have put Plot in there, but now it's like you got to take Plot out of that S tier of 184 pounders. Um, I'll tell you a guy who's going to get a lot of phone calls if he's got eligibility left. This kid from Ryder,
Yeah,
Isaac Dean.
if you didn't say something about him, I think what did Corby say about him? Was he a Blair kid?
Well, if Corby's
Uh
talking about him, he's probably going to be a Hawkeye next year. So I'll just say that he's probably already got Bob on line one calling this kid. So yeah, but
Must say yeah, but
he beat Bennett Berge in the quarters 4-3. Um, my boy Bachman made it to the semis, which I thought was impressive. Unfortunately, he drew the short straw and he had to wrestle Parker Keckeisen. Didn't get technical fauled, which a lot of people were saying that would probably be the case. Not me. I said you better watch out for this Bachman guy. He's going to be pretty good. But Keckeisen wins 8-3 in the finals over Plot. Not that surprising.
nah, and I think that's one of those things where you would hope that Plot would have figured something out from the 1,000 times that they wrestled last year, but it seems like Keckeisen kind of created more distance between them two.
Yeah, so David Taylor on the hot seat. Has Dustin Plott regressed? We'll
Oh,
talk about it. We'll talk about
please,
it. 197 here. I'm just moving right along here because again, I
yeah,
told you
I don't care.
I just quit after Etchemendia got beat in the third and fourth. At 197 though, Jacob Cardenas, he might be my pick to win the weight in general at the end of the year.
After this weekend, maybe. Like, he really impressed me this weekend.
If you can beat Christian Carroll that badly, 16-1 in the first period,
dude, I've never.
you might be the national champion, maybe a world champion.
The video
So
looked
would
like
that?
around Carroll. Like, it didn't look like it was something that could really happen with the physics of those two.
I
So
agree.
are you saying Buchanan would be also a final
Well, he
potential?
majored him. He majored him.
Oh,
So, all right, now I'm thinking
okay.
Cardenas Ferrari final or Barr.
Wait, who made your
Barr looked good.
Yeah,
He's saying that Carroll didn't get majored by
no, he got
Buchanan.
no,
He got majored.
Yeah, he got majored. He didn't get tech fall. That's what I was saying.
I don't know.
Moral victories, guys. Moral victories.
I guess.
Heavyweight though, does anyone even care because Younger didn't wrestle? I probably not. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. But Wyatt Hendrickson, he won OW, smashed everybody, beat Nick Feldman 6-0.
He
pinned Trumbull, who beat Colton Schultz. Colton Schultz might be cooked now. Is it over for Colton Schultz?
I thought he was going to be all right this turn, at least this tournament. Like he had a little scare, but then I saw him kind of whoop up on Jimmy Mullen, who's a decent freshman, but then he gets 9-0'd by Trumbull, and then Trumbull just gets
Pinned.
manhand. It was bad. It was bad. Did anybody see what happened to Feldman? I missed that.
Did he
I'm gonna take
medical
a
forfeit out?
do with
Yeah.
his neck.
He's had. What'd you
Oh,
say, Tyler?
I said I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it has something to do with his neck.
Yeah. People have been saying that though, that he's had legit like bad injuries with his neck, like career injuries type. I don't know. I don't want to put that out there, but that's what I've heard.
interesting. But
Lance,
yeah, nothing.
Nothing too concerning. Can you guys? I feel like are we still? You guys still with me? You good?
Yep, I'm
Gotcha.
I'm with you.
Okay. Our the people's favorite heavyweight though, Lance Runyon, the non-heavyweight who is making his name. He placed 7th at heavyweight, which I feel like at heavyweight every year there's always kind of a guy that sneaks in and becomes an All-American. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Lance, but I'm cheering for it. Like I think every year at heavyweight there's one guy that's kind of surprising, like dang, that guy, like, it is a pretty crazy weight this year. It's crazy though. I want Younger to not wrestle the rest of the year and just take a medical red shirt because the weight clears out after this year. So
Sure.
it will be interesting. But Lance Runyon is still chugging along, representing for the skinnier guys, beating up on these
Do
big
you want
guys.
Do you want a name for a guy that at heavyweight just randomly All American?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Denzel. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's like Denzel Dejournette or something like that from App State. Just the most random All American.
Okay. I'll write it down. But there's always like one guy, I feel like every year that's kind of
And he was one of those ones. So shout out to him, and hopefully Lance Runyon will the Panther Train bulking job or whatever they call it. They call it over there. Hopefully that works out for them.
All right, let's end the show with the Hodge of the week. I'm going to go first because you guys are going to steal it. I got Josh Barr as my Hodge of the week. Beat up, what's his name? Michael Beard, the former Nittany Lion. 11-3, 3 takedowns to nothing. Beard got a reversal, had the lead, and then from there on out, it was just all Josh Barr. And I have a hard time thinking many people are going to beat Josh Barr this season with how great he looked there. But Cardenas is probably my pick at 197, and then I think it's either going to be Ferrari or Josh Barr on the other side. But I don't know. Who's your guys' Hodge of the week?
I'm going with Antrell Taylor. I've just always liked him. Last year he would come in clutch on some spreads, like the toss up. He could always come through and end up winning one of the ones he needed. And then like last year he beat Cam Amin, Peyton Hall, Caleb Fish. So he's always shown that he's good. And I just think, well, he beat Ryder Downey, Patty Gallagher, and Chase Souday this weekend. And I just like his style of wrestling. And so I went with him with winning the Cliff Keen.
The controversial win. You're going with him. Deon, who are you going with?
All right, so I'm gonna do a co-Hodge,
Oh,
double Hodge. Shout out to Ben Askren. He would hate this, but I'm gonna give my Hodge wins to not Nick Feldman. He lost. What the hell is his name? Wyatt Hendrickson. There we go. I'm gonna give it to Wyatt Hendrickson. He pinned his way through the tournament. Other than the Feldman medical forfeit, but I think he would have probably whooped up on him. So he's just looking like a different guy at Oklahoma State with David Taylor and them. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if Minnesota duels Oklahoma State, but I hope
we
they
all
do
do.
because I want to see that. I do, and I think they do. Do they duel Penn State this year? Does Oklahoma State duel Penn State this year? Because
I
I
don't
need
think
I
so.
need Feldman. Darn it, I need that Feldman versus Wyatt Hendrickson. Not Feldman. Damn it, Deon. Get it together. Kirkfleet. I want Kirkfleet versus Wyatt Hendrickson. Because that I need Wyatt to come back with a vengeance.
I agree.
for
That is a
what.
heavyweight match that we need to see. Especially, he does seem like he's upped his level a little bit since leaving the. I don't know
Hmm.
how you can leave the Air Force and up your level, but apparently David Taylor,
I can think of a couple of reasons,
apparently knows what he's
but
doing.
I'm gonna say, but we love our troops. So.
Yes, we do. All right, guys, another week down. What is
Oh
this
wait,
week?
hold on. I gotta
What?
give my Co Hodge. Co
Oh yeah,
Hodge
yeah,
goes to my
yeah. I
boy
forgot.
Jackson Smith.
Okay, there
Jackson
it
Smith for
is.
winning the George Mason tournament. Beating Foca from Cornell, and yeah, shout out to Jackson Smith and the Terps. Go
Is
Terps, go
Cornell
Crimson.
cooked? People are saying.
They're just injury ridden. Like they're down bad, low key.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
they're they're struggling. So
Those damn injuries will get
thoughts
you.
and thoughts and prayers to them
To Cornell and Iowa State.
for real.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, we'll see you when we see you. And you boys have a good rest of your evening.